Coming up on Coastline News, find out what Donald Trump has offered President Barack Obama.
And see what provoked a man to throw a homemade bomb, all coming up in just a few minutes.
You're watching Coastline News.
Donald Trump made what he calls a big announcement yesterday with President Obama. Trump pledged $5 million to a charity of his choice, provided that the president makes public his college applications, his transcripts, and his passport. They're calling this offer a major announcement. Trump released a video on Twitter at noon yesterday, and his online followers grew by the hundreds moments before the video was released. Trump has been a very vocal supporter of Mitt Romney and a huge critic of President Obama. Challenging the validity of the president's birth certificate, Trump has been preparing this announcement for days.
Lance Armstrong has been stripped of his 7 Tour de France victories after a doping investigation. The U.S. Anti-Doping Agency has found detailed evidence with supporting testimony and documents of Armstrong's drug use. The Union Cyclist International says Lance Armstrong has no place in cycling and he deserves to be forgotten. Once considered the greatest cyclist in history, Armstrong is banned from his sport.
A 12-year-old boy who was declared missing on Monday has now been found safe. Officials say William Gear had apparently left his house at 8:15 Monday morning and was supposed to ride his bike to school, but he never arrived. The school called the father around 11 in the morning, and he was surprised to hear that his son wasn't at school. The father then went to the campus and searched the bike racks for the son's bike, but it wasn't there. At around 6:30, the police received a call from the boy, and he was then taken to Lemon Grove Sheriff's Station to be interviewed by detectives. No further details has been released on this case.
Beaches around the county are getting a facelift this week. Reporter Julie McKibben has more.
The city of San Diego is working together to add more sand to 8 San Diego beaches. SandDAG project manager Shelby Tucker explains the purpose of the 2012 Regional Beach Project.
The Regional Beach Sand Project is a beach nourishment project where we take sand from offshore borrow sites and pump it onto area beaches.
A boat is used to help pump sand through a large pipe that is placed along the beach, where approximately 1.5 cubic yards of sand will be dumped.
It is in order to provide economic, recreational, and habitat benefits.
This project runs 24 hours a day using these lights to help them work at night. They also use bulldozers to groom and move the sand around while the sand is being poured onto the beach. The San Diego Beach Project is scheduled to go throughout October and into late November. As you can see behind me, it has already started here in Encinitas and will continue to go to more beaches in the San Diego area. The idea for the project is to eliminate all the cobble or rocks and to provide sand for San Diego visitors and residents. SandDAG also hopes the extra sand will better the environment and will allow more tile space on the beach.
So the goal is to maintain, it's not to address the situation after things have gotten so bad.
In other words, they hope this will help prevent the beaches from getting worse in the future. Reporting for Coastline News, I'm Julia McKibben.
A 4-year-old girl who was mauled by a pit bull is recovering and is in high spirits. Haley Nunez was welcomed home by 20 police officers, firefighters, and paramedics Thursday. National City Police Chief Adolfo Gonzalez handed her balloons with a bag filled with gifts. The chief said the officer wants to make sure the family knows the community is in support of them. Nunez is on medication and has weekly visits to the doctor. Her mother says she might have to undergo more surgery in the future.
Coming up next, the unique breast cancer survivor shares his story.
And see how one man turned a drink into a weapon. The Chargers are under investigation after their last game against the Broncos. The team allegedly used stickum, a band adhesive used to improve an athlete's grip at least one game this season. A line judge confiscated a sticky substance from the member of the Chargers equipment staff after the game. Potential discipline for this activity includes a fine with the possible loss of one or more draft picks for the Bolts. NFL spokesman Greg Aiello said the league office is looking further into the situation.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and most of the attention is on the women and their struggles. Reporter Nicole Young caught up with someone who doesn't exactly fit your mental image of a breast cancer survivor.
Breast cancer is generally associated with women. Breastcancer.org says a woman's lifetime risk of breast cancer is about 1 in 8. Compare that to a man's risk of 1 in 1,000. For PLNU's School of Education professor, Jim Johnson, he was that 1 in 1,000.
When your doctor calls you and says, "We've found some abnormal cells, I want to see you today," it kind of raises the anxiety level pretty quickly.
To get an idea of how rare breast cancer really is in men, Dr. Johnson said that when he was first diagnosed in the early 1990s, less than 0.5% of all breast cancer cases were men. Today, that rate has increased to a little more than 2%. In an off-camera interview, Palomar Hospital's Mark Young said medical advancements are giving doctors better results. Young said, quote, "With improved technology and devices and collective knowledge on male breast cancer, we are capable of detecting it more accurately. So in turn, it appears that the fraction of men with breast cancer is increasing." Johnson battled breast cancer for nearly 2 years, and although the cancer remains a 20-year-old memory, Johnson remains passionate about raising awareness.
For me, it's not an October emphasis. For me, whenever I see anyone in my friend circle on Facebook or whatever, I instantly reach out and I talk about my experience in a very brief way and tell them I'm there.
After Johnson's journey with cancer and losing his father to lung cancer earlier this year, the 64-year-old survivor looks at life a bit differently now.
The first prayer and breath out of my mouth in the morning, and that is, "Thank you, Lord, for life and breath."
In Point Loma, I'm Nicole Young, Coastline News.
A man was killed by a 16-foot great white shark on Tuesday. The 39-year-old surfer was attacked by the shark on the Santa Barbara coast. Shark expert Ralph Collier says the shark attacked because it thought the man was its prey. This is the third attack in the same area within the past 4 years.
Police are still looking for the man that attacked another with a homemade cocktail bomb last Friday in Long Beach. Police say that the victim was sitting on the ground outside the convenience store when another man shook a bottle, lit it, and threw it at him. The bottle burst into flames as the liquid exploded on the victim, and the suspect ran away. The victim suffered serious burns from his waist to his feet and is in critical but stable condition. Police say that they think the victim and the suspect knew each other. So I think we're going to get an update on Consumer Reports right now with Kirsten Saharic.
Kirsten?
Netflix, the online rental service, serves about 30 million customers. CEO Reed Hastings says they're doing well because of their competitive edge. Subscriber Natalie Hamill thinks Netflix is the best way to watch movies and TV shows.
I like Netflix because I don't have to leave my house and I don't have to go pick up a movie somewhere from a red box. I can just stream it live on my computer.
In 1997, Netflix was hardly as popular as it is today. Over the years, the company transformed from a slim chance startup into a huge success.
Netflix has become a successful business because they follow 4 of their own important rules.
Their first rule to being such a great company is using customer feedback to their advantage. Next, they make sure they throw out ideas that don't work for them. Netflix realized that competitors such as Best Buy would lower their profits if they didn't change a few things here and there. Another rule they came up with: they say it's important to have an unstoppable mixture of technology and marketing. They have a movie matching algorithm that gives the customer their own special suggestions. Netflix says that Rule 4 is to remember Rules 1 through 3 so that they will stay on top of the technology and entertainment industry.
Thanks, guys. I'm Kirsten Saharic, and that's all I have for you tonight. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Kirsten. A girl dressed in a skunk Halloween costume was shot outside of a home in Pennsylvania. The 9-year-old was mistaken for an animal when a relative fired a gun at her. Police said the man had been drinking. The current condition of the girl is still unknown.
The Miramar Air Show took place last weekend, and as usual, it didn't disappoint. San Diego hosts the 3rd largest military air show in the nation. Team Miramar held a 3-day event the weekend of October 12th. Over 500,000 guests watched aviators demonstrate the unique capabilities of military aircraft. Civilian performers also took flight, showing their unique flying abilities.
I grew up around planes. My dad is a pilot, so it really makes me feel at home.
The United States Navy Angels performed them almost 2 hours above the Miramar base. The 6 Boeing FA Hornet pilots demonstrated the original diamond formation. The event featured displays of past and present military equipment exhibits and military aircraft. So we've had a pretty cool couple of days this week. I wonder what the rest of the week is going to look like.
I think it's looking to be pretty warm. Nicole?
Hey ladies, and hey San Diegans. If you guys took a look outside your windows today or stepped outside, you would see just how clear and pretty those skies were. But stick with me and I'll show you how your night is going to look right now. Okay, so let's take a look at tonight's lows. All right, so right now at San Diego, we're looking at 61 degrees, very similar to Los Angeles over at 59. But if you go over to Grand Junction, more northeast, you're going to notice it's going to get a little colder and damper, and you hit those blue temperatures. They're about half our temperature right now, but thankfully we're at 61, so we're looking pretty cool right now. But if we look over tomorrow, don't bundle up quite yet because temperatures will rise. In fact, tomorrow, the highs are 82 for San Diego, which is very abnormal for this time of year considering we're going into the November and December months of fall and winter. So 85 in Los Angeles, very similar to San Diego. San Jose, up by the bay, by where the Giants and Tigers are playing right now. Hopefully those fans are bundling up because it's a little chilly over there at 70 tomorrow. But over at Flagstaff in Arizona, we're at 53, and again, Grand Junction, once again, up northeast, it does get a little cooler at 49. Let's see for tomorrow night's lows. Tomorrow night's lows, you're going to see it's definitely a lot cooler than it is tonight. Looking at 58 degrees in San Diego and Los Angeles 59. Phoenix 59, similar to Los Angeles, but once again, northeast towards Eli and Grand Junction, they're actually getting some snow right now. So contrary to San Diego, our bright, beautiful, sunny San Diego, it is actually snowing in other parts of the country. So let's take a look at the 5-day forecast. All right, 5-day forecast, you're looking at the consistent high 80s Friday through Sunday, but when you hit Monday, it goes down a little bit to 86. Tuesday, you're going down to the low 80s, but Sunday through Tuesday are consistent with the 57s. So for all you trick-or-treaters out there going towards the last few days of October, it does get very clear and nice and bright for you. So have a good, happy Halloween, and I'll see you guys next time. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Nicole. Up next, take a look at Point Loma Nazarene University's annual Fall Festival.
And Annie takes us inside the world of sports.
That's all coming up next on Coastline News. Last week, over 100 bikers were seen headed down the coast. Reporter Amanda McCord explains why.
La Jolla welcomed in some weary travelers last week. The 7th annual $1 Million Challenge rode into San Diego last Friday after a 620-mile trek. The ride started in San Francisco. 6 days, 5 hotels, and miles of memories later, the group finished in San Diego, exhausted but accomplished. CAF Director Jeff Jacobs finished this ride for his 7th time, but for the first time with his son. For Jacobs, his passion lies in helping men and women conquer their disability.
Life. We get concerned when people are on the sidelines, maybe feel a little depressed where they've come back from war and have lost a limb. There tends to be a phase where people go through where they end up on the side of life, on the sidelines, and not in the game of life. And we think that sports brings people back into the game of life. And we have a lot of
Athletes ride adapted bikes of all shapes and sizes in order to get the satisfaction of crossing that finish line.
This coastal ride raised over $1 million for the Challenged Athletes Foundation. But more than just the money, it became about the memories and laughs shared along the way.
One veteran made the trip for the first time. The thing he'll remember most is something he hasn't felt in almost 2 decades.
Feeling the wind in my face at 40 miles an hour may have been the biggest memory of the trip. That was, I haven't felt the wind in my face without the sound of a motor in 19 years. So.
Reporting for Coastline News, I'm Amanda McCord.
A 12-year-old boy who was diagnosed with severe autism has found himself on his middle school's cross-country team. Gary Galden was 18 months old when doctors diagnosed him with severe autism because he suddenly stopped speaking. His mother, Jennifer Jaraki, said the doctors told her she needed to put him in a home and that he was never going to function. Now Gear has been on the cross-country team for 2 months, and his coach said he has invigorated and inspired the whole team. Point Loma University held its Fall Festival last week. The event featured pumpkins, trampolines, and lots of candy. Reporter Jacob Roth got to experience it firsthand.
Last Saturday, PLNU hosted the 9th annual Fall Festival. The event brought in thousands of members from the local community who were treated to delicious food, fun games, live music, and other seasonal attractions. Point Loma resident Nicole Cosby says the Fall Festival is a great experience for the entire family.
I think what I like is that it gives everybody in the community an opportunity to come together and just let their kids and their families have fun.
Cosby's 4-year-old daughter, Imani, was pretty clear about her favorite part of the day.
Favorite thing?
The jumper.
The festival featured a number of activities for kids, such as inflatable bounce houses and a towering rock wall. One thing families look forward to each year at the Fall Festival is the pumpkin patch. Every family can take home one pumpkin for their kid. Point Loma President Dr. Bob Brower said the food is without a doubt the most popular part of the Fall Festival.
It's always fun to see what the restaurants do and the variety that they bring.
Eateries from all across the Point Loma area were on hand, and people lined up to get a taste of local specials. And though the weather conditions weren't ideal, Brower is pleased.
Looks like everyone had a blast at that Fall Festival. Thank you, Jacob. I don't know if you watched the game last night, but it was pretty exciting.
I didn't get to see it. I didn't, but I think Annie will be able to update us tonight. Annie?
Thank you, ladies. Hello, Point Lomans. How you doing? I'm doing great because lucky for me, I get to talk about all the fun stuff. So let's get to it. It's October, so you know what that means. Don't say National Squirrel Awareness Month, even though it is. It's October baseball, or more importantly, it's the World Series. In case you didn't know, the San Francisco Gigantes beat Detroit 8-3 yesterday in Game 1 of the Fall Classic. It was pure pandemonium at AT&T Park because, get this, Pablo. You can say his name 3 times because the Kung Fu Panda himself, Pablo Sandoval, hit not 1, not 2, but 3 home runs against the Tigers. That's not all, folks. He did it in his first 3 at-bats. His 4th and final at-bat was a single in the 7th inning. 4 for 4 for Panda. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Sandoval is the 4th player to hit 3 home runs in a World Series game after Albert Pujols did last year, Reggie Jackson in 1977, and Babe Ruth, who did it twice in both 1926 and 1928. He's in pretty decent company. Detroit's Justin Verlander was handed the loss after 4 innings, while Southpaw Barry Zito notched a W. Of course, the teams are playing Game 2 in San Francisco as we speak, so I cannot wait to check that score. In football news, let's just skip football. Unfortunately, there's really nothing to say for our very own San Diego Chargers right now. You all know the Bolts lost to the Broncos last Monday. They had a bye week, and they'll take on the Cleveland Browns on Sunday at 1 p.m.
And we can't forget our dear old Sea Lions. In women's volleyball, they dropped a 4-set match to Cal Bap on Tuesday, but there was a shining moment despite the loss. Nicole Eiler recorded her 4th straight match with double-figure digs. She had 20. And that's all the news we have for you today. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you so much, Annie. Well, that's all we have for you tonight. I thank you for watching, and I hope you join us again next time. I'm Julia McKibben.
Yes, that's right. Tune in 2 weeks from now on Coastline News, right here on Channel 23. I'm Hannah Faria.